After surviving a near-death, EJ awoke from his coma with a simple statement that shocked his loved ones. He couldn't remember who shot him. It was a convenient claim, some might say, especially for a man who has spent decades calculating every move with surgical precision. But his son, Johnny DiMera, isn't buying the act, and the doubt festering in his heart is growing harder to ignore. A son's suspicion grows. Johnny DiMera has never been one to blindly trust, and certainly not when it comes to his complicated father. From the moment EJ made his unbelievable claim, Johnny's radar went off. How could EJ not have seen who shot him? The wound was in his chest, front and center. The shooter had to be directly in front of him. Someone that close couldn't have gone unnoticed. Johnny's doubts aren't just based on logic. They come from the deep scars left by a lifetime of witnessing EJ's manipulations and calculated schemes. This is the same man who has lied, betrayed, and dominated Salem's political and criminal landscape. Now suddenly, after brushing the edge of death, he's reborn as a humble, repentant version of himself. Johnny isn't convinced. What truly troubles Johnny, though, isn't just the possibility that EJ is lying. It's the nagging feeling that his father's lie may have something to do with him. The unspeakable possibility. Is EJ protecting his own son? Whispers around town are getting louder. Rumors are swirling. If EJ remembers more than he's letting on, and all signs suggest he does, then who is he protecting? All signs begin to point toward a heartbreaking possibility. What if the shooter was Johnny? It's an idea too painful for most to entertain. But in Salem, even the unimaginable has a way of becoming reality. A tragic confrontation, a struggle, a weapon discharged in fear or confusion. Could EJ be shielding his son from a life-shattering truth? Let's imagine it for a moment. EJ regains consciousness in the hospital, pain racking his body, his mind foggy from trauma, but not too foggy to remember the look on his own son's face as the trigger was pulled. In that moment, a father's instinct kicks in, not vengeance, but protection. Not accusation, but sacrifice. And so he says nothing. He claims amnesia. He weaves a lie so profound, it might cost him everything. But to a father, saving his child, no matter the cost, isn't a question. It's a duty. The burden of truth. And guilt for Johnny. The weight of not knowing eats away at him. His father's sudden change in personality. The exaggerated forgiveness. The vague, non-committal answers. It all reeks of guilt. But whose guilt? EJ's for keeping secrets? Or Johnny's for possibly playing a part he doesn't even fully remember? Their interactions have become more strained, more brittle. Each conversation is laced with tension, like two men dancing around a fire they refuse to acknowledge. But fire doesn't wait. It burns, even in silence. Johnny wants answers, but part of him fears what those answers will reveal. Belle's confession, a dangerous curveball while Johnny's search for truth intensifies. Another storyline quietly simmers in the background. One that may unexpectedly connect to EJ's shooting. Belle Black, a longtime figure of composure and rationality in Salem, is carrying a secret of her own. Before EJ woke from his coma, she confessed her feelings for him. An emotional revelation that came after years of shared pain and twisted circumstances. But now that EJ is awake, Belle is struggling with what more she needs to confess. Could she have information about the night EJ was shot? Was she there either by accident or design? And is her growing closeness to EJ part of something deeper, perhaps darker, than anyone suspects? If Belle holds a piece of the puzzle, how long before it spills into the open? Salem's powder keg is about to explode elsewhere. News from Sean Brady about his father Beau's condition adds another layer of familial turmoil to the already heavy atmosphere. Salem is a town where families rise and fall together, or tear one another apart trying. At the DiMera mansion, the tension is almost tangible. Behind its grand facade lies a chasm of secrets, lies, and emotional landmines. And at the heart of it all is a father who may be sacrificing everything for the sake of a son who doesn't even know if he's guilty. What happens when the lie can't be contained? As Johnny's questions become more direct and EJ's evasions grow more transparent, the inevitable question looms. How long can EJ maintain the lie? Is he strong enough to keep it up forever? Or will the emotional weight of protecting Johnny eventually crush him? Because in Salem, Truth is never truly buried. It's only delayed. The day always comes when it rises to the surface, raw and unrelenting. And when it does, the consequences can't be undone. If EJ is protecting Johnny, then this story isn't just about amnesia, it's about love, guilt, and the agonizing cost of loyalty. It's about a father's attempt to rewrite fate with silence, hoping that by shielding his son from ruin, he can save what little remains of their fractured bond. But the silence is cracking. The questions are getting louder. And the truth is pushing its way into the light. Final thoughts: will EJ eventually confess what he knows? Will Johnny uncover a devastating truth about that fateful night? And if the bond between father and son is tested to its breaking point, will it survive or shatter completely? In the coming weeks, viewers should brace themselves. The truth behind EJ's silence isn't just a plot twist, it's a heart-wrenching revelation that could redefine everything we thought we knew about the DiMeras. Next, who shot EJ DiMera? A deep dive into the top 3 suspects and why EJ might be hiding the truth. The mystery surrounding EJ DiMera's shooting has gripped Salem like a vice. The infamous heir to the DiMera dynasty was gunned down in what should have been a fatal attack. Yet he survived. And now, instead of seeking justice, EJ is claiming amnesia. But let's be honest, this is EJ DiMera we're talking about. A man who has survived death itself, manipulated corporate empires, and played mind games with some of the most dangerous people in town. The idea that he truly doesn't know who shot him? Highly unlikely. The real question isn't who shot EJ, it's who is EJ protecting and why? Let's dive into the top 3 suspects, those who had motive, opportunity, and emotional history with EJ. And as we peel back the layers, one truth begins to emerge. EJ knows more than he's letting on. Suspect number 1. Johnny DiMera, the son torn between love and rage. Let's start with the most shocking possibility, and perhaps the one that EJ would protect at any cost. Johnny DiMera, EJ's own son, is quickly climbing the suspect list. Why? Because the tension between father and son has been building for months. Johnny has grown more disillusioned with EJ's double life, part charming patriarch, part ruthless manipulator. The younger DiMera has watched his father scheme, lie, and hurt those around him, even those he claims to love. Could there have been a breaking point? Maybe Johnny confronted EJ about one of his many betrayals. Maybe tempers flared. Maybe a gun was drawn in the heat of the moment, and a shot was fired. If Johnny pulled the trigger in an impulsive moment of pain or fear, EJ could have immediately decided to protect him. After all, what father wouldn't take a bullet, figuratively and literally, for their child? The way EJ insists he remembers nothing feels less like forgetfulness and more like calculated denial. Is this amnesia, or is it a cover-up to keep his son out of prison? The idea is terrifying, but it's also plausible. Suspect number 2. Belle Black, the woman with a secret. Next on the list is someone far more underestimated, Belle Black. Belle has been emotionally entangled with EJ for quite some time, despite their chaotic, unpredictable history. Their bond took a sharp turn when she admitted her feelings for him while he lay unconscious in a hospital bed. That alone suggests unresolved feelings, internal conflict, and possibly guilt. Could Belle have been involved in the shooting? While it might seem out of character, remember, Belle has always been capable of surprises when pushed too far. She's fiercely protective of those she loves. Could EJ have threatened someone close to her? Could she have acted out of desperation? And here's a twist. What if Belle wasn't the shooter, but she knows who it was? If that's the case, then her current emotional turmoil might be less about unrequited love and more about the burden of a dangerous secret. EJ, always the puppet master, may be protecting Belle not just because he cares, but because he sees the bigger picture. He may believe the truth will do more damage than the lie. Suspect number 3. Ava Vitali, the vengeful wild card. Ava Vitali's name doesn't always come up first, but it should. Her history with the DiMeras is stained with blood, betrayal, and vengeance. Ava is a wild card. She's unpredictable, explosive, and has zero hesitation when it comes to exacting revenge. EJ has double-crossed her before. He's embarrassed her. He's taken from her. And let's not forget, Ava's world crumbled after she lost her son Charlie, spiraled into madness, and blamed everyone around her for her pain. EJ may have poked the wrong bear one too many times. She had motive. She had rage. She's dangerous enough to shoot and reckless enough not to care about the fallout. If Ava pulled the trigger, she wouldn't hide. But EJ might still hide her identity if there's something else she is over him. Perhaps a secret they share. Perhaps a debt. Or perhaps he fears what she might do next if cornered. In Ava's case, silence might be EJ's version of damage control. Is EJ hiding the shooter's identity? All signs point to yes. There's something deeply unnatural about EJ's version of events. This is a man who controls narratives, not succumbs to them. His claim of memory loss doesn't match the level of self-preservation we've seen from him in the past. Let's examine the facts. He was shot in the chest. The shooter had to be close enough for EJ to identify them. His behavior since waking up is oddly serene, even saintly. It reeks of guilt, not ignorance. He hasn't pushed for justice. In fact, he's been avoiding questions, not demanding answers. EJ is a man who always plays the long game. If he's silent, it's not because he can't speak. It's because he won't. Why? Because saying the shooter's name would cost someone he loves their future. And while EJ has always been ruthless in business when it comes to family or unexpected emotional attachments, he often reveals a far more complicated heart. He's no saint, but he's not a monster either. At least, not anymore. The emotional toll of EJ's silence. If EJ truly knows who shot him and is keeping quiet, the emotional cost will be immense. Especially if he's protecting someone like Johnny or Belle. Secrets like these fester. They rot relationships from the inside. Every time Johnny looks at him with suspicion, every time Belle stumbles over her own feelings, EJ is reminded of the burden he's chosen to carry. And what happens when the truth inevitably comes out, as it always does in Salem? If it's Johnny, the guilt will crush him. If it's Belle, the betrayal may be unforgivable. If it's Ava, the fallout could be deadly. EJ might survive the bullet wound, but will his relationships survive the secret? Final verdict. Who's the most likely shooter? First place. Johnny DiMera, motive, opportunity, and the strongest reason for EJ's silence. Second place. Ava Vitali, dangerous and volatile, and EJ might be covering for her out of fear or strategy. Third place. Belle Black, the emotional wildcard. She may know more than she's admitting or have made a terrible mistake. And the man at the center of it all, EJ DiMera, continues to wear a mask of forgetfulness, but his eyes tell a different story. A story of pain. Of sacrifice. Of knowing the truth and choosing to bury it.